The Romanian presidential election of 2024 caused an unusual rise in international interest for the Eastern European country. The event that received most attention was when the first round of elections was annulled over allegations aimed at independent presidential candidate Cosmin Georgescu, the nationalist and populist who won with no small part due to his popularity on TikTok. The rising star gathered just under 23% of the vote on 24th of November. In March, Georgescu was further disqualified from running by the Romanian Central Electoral Bureau. This came from the back of another nationalist candidate, Diana Sozwaca, being banned from running by the Constitutional Court ahead of the first round of the elections in November. Many people in the right-wing opposition are now worried that democratic rights are being eroded in Romania, says Professor of Law and Member of Parliament Cosmin Corendea, who belongs to the Nationalist Party AUR.
When one of the candidates was banned to run, the problem is that it was a very subjective interpretation on why that person was not allowed to run. And it created a very dangerous precedent, legal, very dangerous precedent, which is why today Mr. Georgescu was actually banned to run. That was the first step in October. Then in December, based on some evidence, which was never made public, which nobody knows about it, we know there is some Russian interference, but we don't have any kind of proof that was Russian interference. We have some evidence talking about foreign ingerency, and we don't have anything about that neither. So during the Constitutional Court comes with a decision and validates the first round. We have 2 rounds of elections. And after validating the first round, based on this evidence.
However, there are those who defend the actions taken against Cosmin Georgescu, pointing to the circumstances surrounding both his campaign and his person. Nicolas Lecaussin, Romanian national and director of the Institute of Economic and Fiscal Research in Paris, believes banning Georgescu may have been the right decision.
First of all, please allow me to remind you some facts. So there were presidential elections in Romania in November, and there were more than 10 candidates. Cosmin Georgescu was one of them. At that moment, nobody knew him. I repeat, nobody knew him. Even experts in Romania just heard about him. So in a couple of weeks, he just changed his image. He was in the polls at about 3 or 4% at the end of September, beginning of October, and he finished first at the first round of the election in November at almost 23%. So it's very huge result, electoral result. But we found that he was supported by a lot of thousand accounts on TikTok, and he declared zero budget for the campaign. He declared only €1,000 per month as a salary. So we found this very suspect, and we decided to cancel the election. Since then, he was taken into custody 2 weeks ago, because he made this declaration, false declaration about his fortune. He said he has no properties, and we found he has a lot of real estate properties in Romania and even in Austria. So his electoral declaration was completely false. So he was taken in custody, and we found also some relationship with some very bizarre persons, ancient mercenaries, African mercenaries, and persons very dangerous in Romania.
Suspicions aroused by Georgescu's strong performance and support on the social media platform TikTok have been cited as being central to his disqualification from the election. The platform's ties to China has led to accusations of him being under foreign influence, says Lecaussin.
An example, he was just the day before the election, on the 24th of November, he was ranked 9th personality on TikTok. Can you imagine that? Like, Hollywood stars or soccer players, he was 9th and nobody knew him. So it was not normal, of course. We have to be very attentive to the Russian interference in Romania, Chinese interference in Romania, because it was on TikTok. It was really on TikTok. When you have more than 20,000 TikTok accounts just waking up on the day before the first round of the election, and these 20,000 TikTok accounts were for Cosmin Georgescu, this is not normal. Something happens. So this is a foreign country who done that. There's no just a guy behind his screen sending millions and millions of messages on TikTok to support Cosmin Georgescu. So this investigation must continue, and we must, the police and the democratic institutions must demonstrate what really happens with good examples.
Georgescu's supporters, on the other hand, are calling the claims against him from the authorities unfounded.
In law, you have this objectivity, which is missing completely. Firstly, there is no evidence. I can state loudly that there is no evidence because there is no evidence showed to the public. So if I am blaming someone of something, at least in a rule of law state, I should bring some arguments, some legal arguments. But when I don't have it, it means that I blame that person because I believe so. So it's subjective, which has nothing to do with the law. Subjectivity is not part of the law. And exactly this is what happened now. He's a danger. Why is he a danger? How is he tied to the Russians if nobody could prove that? How did he influence the elections in the first round with that zero-cost campaign? Why? Show us some evidence. And there is no evidence produced. So they banned him, and there is nothing you can do that until you actually change the law, because the law, the elections law in Romania is very poor.
The response to Georgescu's campaign shows that the respect for the rule of law may be under threat in Romania, warns Professor Corendea. He emphasizes that the judiciary of Romania, including the Supreme Court, is very much politically controlled.
If you have a conviction, your civil rights and political rights are limited for a while, for 4 years, 5 years, and so on, and 10 years, 20 years, which is okay. But this person does not have any kind of convictions, does not have any kind of final court decisions stating that he's not allowed to run. So again, okay, I understand, he influenced the campaign, fine, show me. But if you are not able to show me, you are not able, or you should not be allowed to actually ban someone from running, because you are infringing another human rights, the right to be elected. So you infringe the right to vote, and now you are infringing the right to be elected based on suspicion. It's happening because the judges, the 9 judges from the Constitutional Court, are actually nominated politically. So they are not, some of them, they are not even real judges. And they are in the highest court of a country, but elected or nominated politically. And none of them was nominated politically by the opposition, only by the power. So it should not be a surprise that you see, that they took the decision in a political way, not necessarily in a legal way, which they were supposed to be taken. This is very dangerous. That's why I'm telling you, it created two precedents, two very dangerous precedents, because now if I am party or I am part of that court, for example, I can choose who can run and who cannot run. And this is very dangerous for a democracy. If I don't like a person, or that person was attacking me in the media or whatever, as a judge, I say, nah, you don't run this time. And nobody can tell me that I did wrong, because I already have the two precedents on which I can base my arguments. So this is the danger which has been created, and it is reflected now because, again, another person was banned. The two persons were banned, Mr. Georgescu and Mrs. Șoșoacă. So two persons were banned this time for the elections in May. And who else knows what will happen in the next election cycle if this law will not be changed? Everyone should run. You can vote or you cannot vote. It's perfectly fine. But everyone who is not otherwise stated by law, and we talked about the conventions and the final court decisions against it, should be allowed to run.
Even those who defend the treatment Georgescu received may still be critical to the process in which he was banned from running, says Nicolas Lecaussin. He argues that the Central Electoral Bureau should have acted much earlier against Georgescu in order to maintain the integrity of the election.
I think the Romanian institution must be more, attentive, act more easier and earlier in this kind of campaign, not after the campaign, not after the first round. I mean, they should tell before the first round, hey guys, this guy Georgescu declared a lot of things which are just lies. Before they should said that before the election. He is a candidate without party. He has no party, and he asked for the end of all political parties, which is very dangerous. That means he is against democracy. That's what the Electoral Bureau said too. He said he wants to end all the electoral parties. He said he has lists with people, globalist supports of the globalism in Romania, and he will, I quote, he will take care of them. This is violence. So this guy has no program.
He still stresses, however, that Georgescu was a highly suspect person whose motivations may in fact have been a threat to Romanian democracy and security in the long run.
The investigation found some very bizarre people around him. People the police went to them and found cash, dollars, more than 1 million cash, weapons, a lot of weapons. This is very interesting. Of course, the investigation continues, and we don't know what will be the end of that, but the Electoral Bureau has all the reason to suspend his candidature for the election. One of his bodyguards has guns at home, has some papers saying that we'll take power in Romania. This is very, very dangerous, and these guys are investigating now. So I'm sure we'll find more and more about what happens, what they are waiting for. These are former militaries, mercenaries, as I said, in Africa. They have probably links with Wagner, the Wagner Russian mercenaries, and they are dangerous. They are considered, of course, very, very dangerous.
Cosmin Corendea, who still supports the right of Călin Georgescu to run for office, is however concerned that the treatment the popular political candidate received may have ultimately done greater harm to Romania's national unity and democracy. There have been arguments saying that in just a couple of weeks he sort of came out of nowhere, so to speak, and then suddenly finished first, and that he had over 20,000 TikTok accounts in his favor, and which is sort of the Chinese allegations or Russian allegations. There's also, as you were mentioning, false declaration on his budget and budget campaign. Can you elaborate on the fact that you say there is no evidence?
Right.
These are just claims?
Yeah,
Sort of
it is claims, but on the same time, there is no law regulating the social media campaigns in Romania. So I can do 1,000 million social accounts. I'm not banned to do that. The fact that he came around, he was still voted by 2.5 million people out of 9.5. So 2.5 million votes were just trashed. Yeah, we heard about the bots. We heard about this electronic kind of interference. Well, people were still voting. There is no TikTok voting. There is no Chinese, no Russian kind of mechanical or electronic kind of system voting. People were voting. Yeah. So in this regard, it's interpretable, it's speculative. You cannot prove that this actually influenced the result of the first round, because the result of the first round was exclusively it was exclusively affected, if you want, in a positive way, by people voting for this person. The Romania is now split into parts. Is the society? It's unfortunately very affected by these elections. We usually had the power to separate the political opinions from anything else, but now we are very profoundly affected by what happened in December. And no, I will not say. And the proof of 2.5 million people voting for this person in December, so not 5 years ago, in December, 4 months ago, I think is the living proof that his popularity is absolutely huge.
The Romanian presidential election will, after the annulment and cancellation of the 2024 elections, be held again in May. The first round takes place on May 4th and the second on May 18th.